accident. He was electrocuted at work, and it burned off his entire face.
Dallas's injury was so deep that there was really nothing left from the face, just the bare bones.
The risky procedure that could give him back his face.
The biggest challenge certainly was we had about 4 hours to reconnect the blood flow in the face. And we were getting very, very close to that last hour, to the point where the face would no longer be alive.
The human face transplant.
They said he would never be able to speak, certainly never be able to kiss his daughter. Please welcome the first recipient to receive a full face transplant in the U.S., Dallas Weeds. Hello and welcome to The Doctor. Today we're featuring inspiring medical survival stories, including one couple's incredible journey. They both cheated death, then met and fell in love. Two separate incidents, two incredible second chances at life. Two fighters who say that the pain that brought them together was pain with a purpose. But years before they met, Dallas actually described himself as arrogant and self-centered. But everything changed when a routine construction job went horribly awry.
My injury happened on November 13th, 2008. I was an independent contractor. I won a bid to do some repair paint work on a church. I remember my phone ringing. I answered the phone, but I must have been distracted. And I moved the lift into the power lines that were behind the church. My uncle was actually around the backside of the church with me when he heard the crack. And turned around and saw me actually being electrocuted by the my electrocution burned away all of my face and all of my soft tissues all the way down to my bone. I did lose 100% of my vision. The doctors at Parkland told my family that they needed to go ahead and begin to say their goodbyes, that there was no way I was going to survive. When I was in the coma for about 3 months.
Dallas's injury was so deep that there was really nothing left from the face, just the bare bones.
I had 21 surgeries.
A lot of those surgeries involved taking away dead tissue, stuff that had been burned so badly that it was unusable.
I was in the hospital for a grand total of 6 months and 5 days. I first learned about the face transplant from my doctor, our plastic surgeon here in Dallas. He was at a symposium.
I had the opportunity to meet Dr. Bo Tomahawk, who was presenting the case of a partial face transplant. I introduced myself to Dr. Tomahawk and said, I think I've got a patient for you. And he said, I think I can help.
And he called me after the pain was over and told me he thinks he had seen a glimpse of the future. In September of 2010, I was put on the waiting list. In early March, got a phone call from Dr. Tomahawk telling me that they had identified a donor. I don't have any fear of going into surgery, but what made me make the final decision was that I could never really attend my daughter's dance recitals or school events because I know that I looked different. And to me, a face transplant would give me back a life that I wanted to have, that I tried to have.
The operation took 20 hours. The transplant was remarkably extensive. It included pretty much half of the scalp, from vertex of the head all the way from ear to ear of the face down to the bottom of the neck. The biggest challenge certainly was we had about 4 hours to reconnect the blood flow in the face, and we were getting very, very close to that last hour. It was very, very close to the point where the face would no longer be alive.
Within almost exactly 2 months between when I had my transplant, when I saw my daughter, and my daughter jumped in my lap and she hugged me. And then she took my face and told me that she said that, Daddy, you're so handsome. And then she gave me a kiss, and I felt that kiss, and I broke into tears. I cried for a long time. I just held her and cried until I couldn't cry anymore.
They said he would never be able to speak or eat again, certainly never be able to kiss his daughter. Please welcome the first recipient to receive a full face transplant in the U.S., Dallas Weens. And this is Charlie?
Yes.
So Dallas, I'm trying to think back to that day you went on that construction job. You're a 20-something young man. Then something happened, and the next thing you knew, you woke up in the hospital. When you woke up, did you have any idea what had happened?
I did not have much of an idea, but I definitely did not know the extent of it and did not have any idea that it was facially.
So you spent months in a coma?
About 3 months, yes.
Yeah, and that was a medically induced coma. It was better for your physicians to treat those extensive burns by keeping you in a coma, obviously for pain control, and to allow them to do what they had to do to treat those burns.
Absolutely. What I was told is that I probably would not have survived if my body had to be subjected to all of that pain consciously. So the coma that I was in was not only necessary, but medically induced and therapeutic in a way.
So when you woke up after 3 months in a medically induced coma, you'd lost your vision. Were you able to feel your face? Were you able to get a sense for how much damage that injury did?
I couldn't move my left arm more than about 15 degrees. I was hardly able to get to my chin with my right hand. I'd been laid up again for about 3 months, so serious atrophy to all of my muscles. At one point, I was talking by writing on a dry erase board, and I remember my father asking if I wanted to know the full extent of my injuries, and so I nodded.
And Dallas, what strikes me most about your story is you kept being told, you'll never do this, you'll never have that, and in fact, you didn't listen to them. You said, yes, I will. And in fact, all these things they said you'd never get back, a lot of them you've gotten back.
Absolutely.
And part of your injury was losing your sight. I know recently you've been fitted with new eyes, correct?
That's very correct.
And how is that going? You going to show us?
Yes.
And just in keeping with your attitude, never give up. I mean, you are blind, but yet deep inside you feel that at some point you may get your sight back.
There's no may about it. It's not a matter of if, it's simply a matter of time.
And Dallas, I want to take everyone in the audience through a progression of where you've been and where you've come. And as we go through these, you can tell me if you ever felt like you were going to give up, because the audience is now looking at a picture of you after the injury and seeing the progression since your face transplant. 30 plus operations?
38.
Did you ever think during that time period that I can't do this?
Emotionally, no. But there was a day where my body was so worn out, I was falling in and out of sleep, and this is after I had been taken off of all of my pain medications, or at least my intravenous ones. So it wasn't an effect of the medication. I didn't have the physical strength to sit up that day, let alone stand or walk. And I had really at that point believed my body was giving up, that I did not have the physical strength to continue to fight, that my will and my tenacity overcame that physical limitation.
Well, it had to wear you down, one operation after another, but it can't be done in one step, unfortunately. I mean, you had to commit yourself to a long, arduous task.
Oh, absolutely.
Going through all of these.
Absolutely. I mean, I had had 21 surgeries prior to ever waking up in Parkland Hospital.
You can get a heart from someone, a lung, a liver, a kidney, but you have received the gift of a donor's face. And the other thing that you can get a heart from someone, a lung, a liver, a kidney, But you have received the gift of a donor's face. And the other thing that you said is that you never realized how important lips are because you can now kiss your daughter.
A beautiful doctor.
And what I found compelling is it's some of the simple things that you can do now that you say are the most meaningful. Tell us about a few of the subtle little things that you can do now with this face transplant that you couldn't before.
As I've been doing since I've been sitting here, smiling. Smiling is impressive. I can create function as if I'm winking with my right eye, which is pretty entertaining.
And you have an infectious smile. I mean, we look at you smile, we want to smile back. There's something to that. That's special.
And the other thing you said is that you never realized how important lips are because you can now kiss your daughter.
For anyone who is a father who has the opportunity to kiss their child, I believe we all take it for granted. It was a day that I came home from the hospital and she gave me a kiss and I couldn't feel it. It broke my heart. It shattered it. After the face transplant, it was about 2 months before I saw her. And when I did, I had enough nerve regeneration that I could very faintly feel her kiss. And that broke me again. I began to cry just out of sheer happiness about getting that back. The ability to show affection is part of what makes us human. And to me, I'd lost it for so long. To get it back was a very emotional time for me.
And I think if you're at home watching right now and you haven't hugged and kissed your kids lately, now's the time, because you aren't promised tomorrow. You now have the ability to show affection to your daughter again. You now have the ability to eat on your own. You now have the ability to talk, because you couldn't talk before. Well, we have to talk a little bit medically about how big of a deal this is.
This is about as big a deal as it gets, that you lost so much of that tissue that you were the ideal candidate for a face transplant. And as we saw in the tape piece, it was a team of 30 doctors led by Dr. Bowden Pomahawk, who's one of the leading experts in the world. He's a director of plastic surgery transplantation at the Brigham Women's Hospital at Harvard. You were at the right place in Boston, Massachusetts. So first step, he had to find the right donor, a face for you. That was based on age, skin color, and blood type. So they found a donor, they took that donor, and they reattached a new face onto your existing skeleton. And that included your forehead, your lips, your eyelids, your cheeks, the muscles. We have 47 muscles that move our face, and you had lost those as part of your burn and part of the contractures. So they had to be reattached. The sensory nerves so you could feel again, the motor nerves that cause the muscles to move and stimulate. Again, this all had to be connected to the arteries and veins so that this tissue that was transplanted had a blood supply. So a lot of parts to this, and very, very risky. Number one, the blood supply could have failed. Number two, you could have rejected this new face. But as we can see, things could not have gone any better. 17 hours surgery. They really did a remarkable job.
Regardless, what makes this transplant so unique is, you can get a heart from someone, a lung, a liver, a kidney. But you have received the gift of a donor's face that is allowing you to do all these things you didn't think was possible. Does that add significance to you in terms of the donor and the donor's family?
It weighs a mantle of responsibility on my shoulders day in and day out to live the greatest life that I can, to help as many people as I can help, to touch as many lives as I can in honor of not only my donor, but the gift that my donor's family has given me.
During Dallas' initial recovery, he attended a support group for burn victims, where he not only found encouragement, he also found another silver lining: love. More about that after the break. Suffering a bizarre electrical accident, Dallas was left without a face and told by doctors he wouldn't be able to eat, walk, or ever talk again. But he cheated death. He's here today sharing his amazing medical survival story. And Dallas, I think for every medical survival story that Drew and I have heard, there's someone else that has helped someone get through a difficult patch. And for you, you found someone special in a burn support group. Tell us about that.
Well, our mutual friend actually told me that she was going to a burn support group and convinced me that I had to go with her, and so I did. And I met a dear person to me, and her name is Jamie Nash.
And that's where this story takes an even more amazing turn. Jamie has a serious survival story of her own, and it's from an accident caused by something we're all very familiar with. One of these.
I was the ultimate multitasking mom. I was on the go 24/7, along with texting and driving. I was habitual. No matter whose car I was in, no matter what I was doing, I was on the phone. The accident was on June 27th, 2010. I was texting when I lost control of the vehicle. My car flipped and it landed against a small tree. I was pinned inside. They were just scrambling to get me out of the inferno. It took another 20 minutes before the volunteer fire could show up and actually put out the flames. When I got to the hospital, over 70% of my body got burned. My back, my bottom, from the top, my tips, my ears, my arms, my sides. The fire wrapped around my thighs, everywhere except for the very front of me was burned. I was in an induced coma for 10 weeks because of the pain, because of all the surgeries I had to go through. When I first remember waking up and seeing my parents, I thought it was the next day.
I said, Jamie, do you know where you are? And she said, the hospital. That was one of those little girls breaking daddy hearts moments.
The doctors told us that she may not survive.
I was still in grave condition for a very long time in ICU. It was very, very scary for a very long time. For me to sit here and think about what I did, it's still fresh. It's only been 2 years. I can't do things like fix my daughter's hair anymore. What happened to me has changed me and changed who I am today.
Please welcome Jamie to the show. This is actually a show where we promote public displays of affection, so I just want to look at the two of you for a moment here, because neither of you should be with us today.
No.
You truly cheated death, both of you, and it's just so wonderful that you found each other through all of this. And Jamie, I first heard about Dallas' story, which is maybe the most unique, one of the more bizarre stories I've ever heard. And then to think about what you went through, to hear your screams on that tape piece, to think 23 minutes you were stuck in a car completely engulfed by flames. What in the world's going through your mind in that car?
I don't have much memory of the accident itself, but I do have memory of being trapped. I remember putting out my own hair, like flailing my arms and trying to to get out. I couldn't get out.
Dr. Rona and I were looking at what happened to you, and 70% of your body with severe burns. Do you know how your face survived?
Excuse me. Yes. As soon as we met, my rescuers, we asked them. We said, what was it? What spared my face? Because we really didn't know. And they said, was it the airbag? And he said, no, ma'am. He said, we used 6 fire extinguishers on your face. We spared your face. And so in all the commotion and panic that they had.
They focused on that first.
They really did.
And in your case, a 70% burn, that's a significant burn. The
34th degree.
At 70%, there was a very high chance that you wouldn't survive it.
It was close. The tips of my ears were burned. I've got bald spots in the back of my hair. It was very, very close.
Jamie, we know this event started using your cell phone.
I was going way too fast. I was on my phone and I lost control.
And having been through this, you openly talking about texting and driving is probably your single biggest agenda, isn't it?
Absolutely it is. It's my heart and my passion. It's what I've decided to take something horrific and turn it and to reach as many people who will hear me. And I will keep talking. You're going to hear me. I just have that voice. I have a voice now. This is for a reason. I'm here for a reason.
Turn everything else off. Stop all conversations and think about it. It takes 2 seconds to send a text. It's been 2 years since your horrifying accident. You're still recovering. You all have to understand the consequences here. It just seems so innocuous. Oh, I'll just send a really quick text. But here you are 2 years later, still recovering. And you'll never fully recover.
I just went through my 31st surgery. And yes, I have stitches on my left side right now that I'm healing from this release of skin that we're working on releases. Yes, I have yet to touch my face and my hair with my left hand since this accident because my elbow is paused. The bone just now healed the skin over my bone, so it's bone right here. There's no padding. And I just can't bend my arm yet.
But what you can do is you can teach other people. Tell us the name of your organization.
It's Jamie Nash Text Later, which is text lingo, TXT-L-8-R. And I go around with thumb bands and wristbands, and I get these custom made so you can go around with the word Jamie Text Later. And I made sure they were fire red. But that's your reminder, especially that right thumb, to not text and drive. I'm not going to do it. It's not worth your life or somebody else's.
You each had your own foundations individually.
Before we met.
But you're bringing those together as well to help other people that have gone through similar experiences as yourself. Can you tell us about that?
We're going to do different things that we can, people can go and go to a certain site and, donate to the cause that they want. And to see, oh, this person needs hands. Hands.
And Hanging with Harvest, the west side will be up shortly.
And we've talked to Dallas, we've talked to Jamie now. These are true horrifying accidents, 2 burn survivors, but they actually have one unifying bond of love. There's a lot more to this story. We'll share that when we come back. Medical survivors Dallas and Jamie cheated to death in 2 separate but equally horrific accidents. They were both given bleak prognoses with a very slim chance of surviving, but time and time again, they beat the odds.
When I first saw Dallas at the support group, he shined from across the room, and I caught myself just staring at him. So that started it all. So when I got home, I was sure to find him on Facebook and send him a message, and I didn't hear a thing from him for 2 months.
And I call her either on the phone talking or texting all day, every day for like the next week or 2.
We were first face to face, we had talked before about how he could see me, and he asked me if he touched his face. He said, "May I?" And I was like, "Hey, what? What are you talking about?" Because he reached out his hands, and I go, "Oh, he wanted to touch my face." So I sat there, and I turned towards him, and he started touching my face, and I was just grinned. I was just so nervous, and I looked at him, and he laid his hands down, and I said, "You didn't even touch my lips." And he said, "Oh, I didn't. Did I?" And he reached in for a kiss. It blew me by surprise. I was like, "Oh my gosh, she totally just set that up." And he swears to this day that he didn't. That it was just perfect.
I was trying to set it up. I would say that Kenny and I are connected on a deepest level there is. I don't think that we could be more connected. I mean, we already finish each other's sentences or speak what the other one's thinking.
I fell in love with the face that I met, and I just can't to this day see my life without him. He accepts me for who I am, and he loves me for that.
Hey, you guys, wait for this. Because I hear little Birdie told me that you have a little announcement to share with everyone.
We're getting married.
Can I get another kiss?
Yeah.
I've always said right.
Now you have lipstick on your face. Look, it suits you just fine, I'll tell you.
Look at me.
Hey, you know what? I think you two are a match made in heaven. You know, this is true proof that two is stronger than one. And I am amazed how you found this silver lining in all of this. Let's talk honey. Let's talk honey.
He's
I
cutting to the chase.
I want to go away so bad.
Maybe Europe?
What
Yes!
happened was we had made plans to fly
We're saving
to
our money. Yeah.
Venice to stay for about 3 days and to take a train ride from Venice to Paris to stay for 2 more days and then fly home. Every dime that was in our savings account was depleted. Our car broke down twice.
And I like
Speak. I'm going to interrupt.
We had
Because thanks to our friends at Visa, we're going to send the two of you to Italy for a 6-day, 5-night stay. On the Amalfi Coast, so you know what? It's all paid for. And look at this picture here. That's where you're going. And the Casa Angelina is a Visa Signature Luxury Hotel Collection property. You see those endless vistas of the sea, little peek-of-view views of the southern Italy's Amalfi Coast, and probably when you go, you know, you need a little spending money, so they're also giving you a $3,000 Visa gift card. Visa debit cards are accepted, so...
Enjoy. Lots of pasta.
Thank you so much. Oh.
Will you do us one favor?
Yes, anything.
Will you take lots of pictures and send them back to us?
Absolutely.
You got it. I take pictures every day.
You guys have a beautiful wedding. Create some memories on your honeymoon. We look forward to seeing the pictures. Thank you for inspiring us here today.